Prince Andrew and the former President Bill Clinton have been named in newly released court documents relating to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Recently, Jeffrey Epstein's court papers spilled the tea on a who's who of high-profile hobnobbers with the infamous sex offender. It's the scandalous guest list for a party you never wanted an invite to. Among the jaw-dropping revelations is Epstein's private island, now cheekily dubbed Pedophile Island or the Island of Sin.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it.
The FBI did some island hopping and recently released some of their findings. What did they find? Not buried treasure, but revelations that had everyone's eyebrows reaching new heights. Find out all the details in this video. The secrets of the island. Little St. James is a tiny island in the U.S. Virgin Islands with clear blue waters. Before Epstein came, it was part of a group of islands bought by the U.S. during World War I to stop Germany from using them as a submarine base. These islands are now known for their low taxes, attracting many financial experts and businesses. Epstein used this tax-friendly environment to set up his companies. His office, discreetly placed in a seaside strip mall on St. Thomas, was near a mini-mart and a salon. From here, he managed his financial affairs, eventually getting involved with Little St. James. It all began in the late 1990s when Jeffrey Epstein entered the spotlight. In 1998, Epstein's plan to create his own private sanctuary took shape. He purchased Little St. James from venture capitalist Arch Cummon. The transaction, reportedly valued at just under $8 million, marked the beginning of Epstein's reign over this secluded paradise. With the acquisition of Little St. James, Epstein wasted no time in transforming the island to suit his extravagant tastes. Native vegetation was cleared, making way for towering 40-foot palm trees that now dominate the landscape. But this was just the beginning of Epstein's grand vision for his private oasis. Starting in 2007, Epstein embarked on an ambitious building and remodeling project that drew suspicion from local officials. His main compound nearly doubled in size, with a plush mansion, an outside terrace connecting the master bedroom to a stunning swimming pool, and even a desalination system to ensure a constant supply of fresh water. Satellite photos and stunning drone footage reveal the true extent of Epstein's island empire. Terraces, cottages, beach houses, swimming pools, docks, utility buildings, a helipad, a tennis court, slipways, and mysterious huts dot the landscape. Palm-lined roads connect these luxurious spots, where golf buggies ferried guests from one opulent location to another. At the other end of the island from Epstein's main compound stands a peculiar structure often referred to as the Temple. With its squat, boxy design and blue and white stripes, this building has become a lightning rod for speculation and conspiracy theories. One intriguing theory about the temple is that it had a hidden elevator leading to an underground location. However, a contractor who worked there didn't believe this theory, thinking it was unlikely. Instead, he noticed something unusual about the temple's door. The door to the temple had a massive piece of wood on the outside that acted like a giant lock. This surprised people because locks are typically placed inside buildings to keep others out, but in this case, the lock was on the outside, raising questions about its purpose, which seemed to be keeping people inside. This unusual door and lock add to the mystery of Epstein's island, hinting at secrecy and control within the temple. People are curious about what was concealed behind that door and what secrets it held. These questions continue to baffle those who investigate the mysteries of Jeffrey Epstein's island. However, investigations by the authorities pointed to a more mundane explanation, suggesting it was a private study and music room for Epstein. An island employee revealed that Epstein had a storage closet filled with many brand new Lacoste white polo shirts, all in medium size. At first glance, it might seem like Epstein simply had a strong preference for this style of shirt and wanted a large collection. However, the truth is more unsettling. Epstein had a strict rule when it came to his t-shirts. He never wore them more than once. Instead, after wearing a shirt just once, he would give it to his cleaning staff to use as cleaning rags. This unusual behavior surprised those who witnessed it, as it appeared excessive and wasteful. This raises the question, why did Epstein go to such lengths to ensure he never wore a shirt more than once? Was it due to hygiene concerns, a peculiar quirk, or something more sinister? Some speculate that Epstein's strong desire for cleanliness and control may have influenced this odd behavior. By discarding shirts after a single use, he could maintain a tidy and well-organized environment, which helped him feel in control of his surroundings and the people within it. Furthermore, disposing of these shirts could also be seen as a way to eliminate potential evidence or DNA that could link him to illegal activities. Epstein was known for engaging in unlawful actions, particularly on his private island, which served as a hub for his secret dealings. By getting rid of the shirts, shirts. He might have aimed to erase any proof that could connect him to his questionable deeds. The cost of the Lacoste shirts is noteworthy, as each shirt was valued at about $1.90. This raises questions about Epstein's financial situation and the extent to which he was willing to go to satisfy his unusual habits. In 2016, Epstein expanded his island empire by purchasing the neighboring island of Great St. James. This acquisition, allegedly made under the guise of a Dubai businessman named Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, further added to the intrigue surrounding Epstein's activities. Epstein's presence on the islands did not go unnoticed by the local community. Some residents expressed their concerns, feeling that Epstein's wealth made him untouchable and beyond the reach of proper scrutiny. They questioned whether he could be policed effectively, given his influence and connections. Little St. James was not just a tropical retreat for Epstein, but also a playground for the wealthy and powerful. In the days before his 2008 conviction, Epstein would visit the island 2 or 3 times a month, staying for several days at a time. It was during these visits that the true nature of life on the island began to unfold. Former employees described Little St. James as a zen-like retreat, where Epstein would stroll around in flip-flops, surrounded by the sounds of meditative music playing from speakers strategically placed throughout the island. Women were a constant presence on the island, frequently seen in the arms of Epstein or his guests. Some of these women were suspiciously young, raising questions about their involvement and the nature of their relationships with Epstein and his associates. They would often sunbathe topless, adding to the air of hedonism that permeated the island. These women were sometimes ferried over to the island in groups aboard a 38-foot boat called the Lady Ghislaine, reportedly named after Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Little St. James had a staff of approximately 70 people, ranging from groundskeepers and gardeners to laundry ladies and on-call boat captains. They were all sworn to strict secrecy and instructed to stay out of Epstein's sight when performing their duties. Their uniforms consisted of black or white polo shirts, blending into the background as they catered to the whims of their wealthy and powerful employer. The island's staff were forbidden from entering either of Epstein's 2 offices in the main manor. One of these offices housed a closely guarded steel safe. What secrets did Epstein keep hidden within those walls? According to investigations that were later uncovered by the authorities, Epstein had a peculiar fascination with what he called pirate treasure. He would reward his servants with payments ranging from $100 to $1,000 for interesting finds, such as old rum bottles and crockery discovered on the island. Epstein had a strict daily routine on the island. He preferred not to eat meals in front of others, instead opting for snacks that he would consume in his room. This private space was also where he would receive daily massages, an indulgence that was strictly off-limits to the island's staff. Disturbing him in his sanctuary was considered absolutely forbidden. However, even within the confines of his private quarters, there were glimpses of a darker side. On one occasion, while Epstein was away, employees stumbled upon a box of sex toys. This discovery hinted at the existence of a hidden world of pleasure and debauchery that Epstein kept hidden from prying eyes. Miles and Kathy Alexander, a South African couple who ran the island between 1999 and 2007, shed some light on their experiences. They described Epstein as a kind man, but their job was all about discretion. They claimed to have a clear conscience, stating that they never witnessed anything untoward during their time on the island. Epstein's wealth and connections made him a formidable figure on the island. He was known to have associations with influential individuals from various industries, raising questions about the extent of his power and the protection he enjoyed, ownership, and guest. From time to time, he would host some wealthy and influential guests. Among them were theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking, Nobel laureate Lawrence Krauss, comedian Chris Tucker, Victoria's secret magnate Les Wexner, model Naomi Campbell, former Tony Blair aide Lord Peter Mandelson, and even Prince Andrew of the United Kingdom. It has been claimed that former U.S. President Bill Clinton was also a guest on the island, although he denies ever having been there. Another controversial figure linked to Epstein is Donald Trump, who reportedly flew on one of Epstein's private jets, but whether he visited the island remains unclear. The magician David Copperfield is even said to have proposed to supermodel Claudia Schiffer on this very island. Guests would arrive on Epstein's private Gulfstream jets at Cyril E. King Airport on St. Thomas, in a secluded area separate from the main runway. From there, they would be shuttled to Little St. James on one of Epstein's black helicopters, adding an air of exclusivity and secrecy to their visits. Once on the island, Epstein spared no expense in treating his guests. He went to great lengths to ensure their comfort and entertainment. entertainment. For instance, he reportedly paid for a submarine to be modified, providing a unique seabed tour to Professor Hawking. This level of luxury and extravagance created an atmosphere akin to a five-star hotel where nobody paid. Despite the disturbing nature of the activities that took place on the island, some guests seemed oblivious to the darkness that surrounded them. Kathy Alexander, a former employee, remembers Prince Andrew as one of the more gracious visitors, describing him as great fun and very undemanding. However, an incident involving a sea urchin revealed a shocking side to the prince's behavior. One day, he returned from the beach in great mirth after urinating on the foot of a companion to alleviate the pain caused by the sea creature. Miss Alexander recalls Prince Andrew slipping her a $350 tip, which was unexpected, as other guests didn't typically leave such gratuities. These glimpses into the lives of the island's visitors paint a picture of the activities that unfolded behind closed doors. As the years went by, rumors and whispers about Epstein's activities on the island began to circulate among the locals on St. Thomas. They referred to his private jets as the Lolita Express, hinting at the sinister nature of the guests he brought with him. Even scuba divers who ventured near the island would reportedly encounter security guards patrolling the water's edge, ensuring no one stumbled upon the island's dark secrets. Epstein's Island became a hub of construction activity, with approximately 200 workers shuttled back and forth every day to build his projects. These workers were instructed to keep to themselves and do their jobs, while Epstein occasionally gave away old or surplus materials. This bustling construction activity provided a cover for the illicit activities taking place on the island. Airport staff on St. Thomas also had a glimpse into Epstein's world. A former air traffic controller revealed shocking details of seeing Epstein exit his helicopter, stand on the tarmac in full view, and board his private jet with young female children. This eyewitness account, along with discussions among airport staff, raised concerns about Epstein's presence around children. However, they believed law enforcement was handling the situation, leaving them unsure of who to turn to or if anyone truly cared. The Alexanders, who worked on the island, also grew increasingly suspicious of the activities taking place. They noticed young girls who appeared to be in high school, always wearing college sweatshirts as a form of camouflage. These girls would often carry shopping bags from designer brands like Gucci and Dior, further fueling their concerns. Kathy Alexander couldn't help but wonder if their mothers knew where they were as they walked around with very few clothes on, or lounged by the pool with nothing on. Miles Alexander in particular had to refuse Epstein's request to smuggle in female guests by boat without logging their names and passport numbers with the government of St. Thomas. These encounters with Epstein's requests and the unsettling atmosphere on the island weighed heavily on the couple's conscience, eventually leading them to quit in 2007. According to the Attorney General's complaint, Epstein refused the officers' entry at the dock, claiming it was his front door. He insisted on meeting them in his office on St. Thomas, effectively limiting their access to the island. This audacious move allowed Epstein to maintain control and keep law enforcement at bay. But it didn't stop there. Epstein went to great lengths to ensure his criminal activities remained hidden. He made employees sign confidentiality agreements, binding them to silence. These agreements not only banned them from talking to law enforcement, but also required them to report any inquiries to Epstein himself. This web of secrecy created an impenetrable fortress around the island, making it incredibly challenging for authorities to gather evidence and hold Epstein accountable. Monitoring a sex offender with his own private islands and the resources to fly victims in and out on private planes and helicopters represented unique challenges. Epstein's vast wealth and connections allowed him to manipulate the system and evade detection. The Epstein enterprise, as it came to be known, operated with impunity, shielded from the prying eyes of law enforcement and the public. Adding to the complexity of the situation, both Little St. James and its neighboring island, Great St. James, are protected areas due to their coral reefs and wildlife. Local planning officials suspected Epstein of exceeding his building permits, and the Attorney General's complaint reveals that he was fined thousands of dollars for breaking environmental rules. However, for someone like Epstein, that kind of money was insignificant. Interestingly, the complaint argues that Epstein's purchase of Great St. James was simply a ruse to hide what was happening on Little St. James. The Epstein enterprise purchased the island for over $20 million, ensuring it did not become a base from which others could view their activities or visitors. This strategic move further shielded Epstein's conduct from view, preventing his detection by law enforcement or the public, and allowing him to continue and conceal his criminal enterprise. In December 2022, the U.S. Virgin Islands filed a lawsuit in a federal court in New York against J.P. Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks on Wall Street. The lawsuit alleged that the bank had been complicit in helping Epstein traffic vulnerable women and girls into sexual servitude on his secluded islands. The USVI's Attorney General General claimed that J.P. Morgan Chase had played a significant role in facilitating Epstein's illicit activities. They alleged that the bank helped pull the levers through which Epstein paid his network of enablers and victims. Shockingly, even after Epstein had been flagged as a child sex offender by the bank, he continued to withdraw as much as $750,000 a year in cash from his J.P. Morgan accounts. J.P. Morgan Chase vehemently rejected these allegations, attempting to shift blame onto high-ranking USVI officials. They argued that the bank had no knowledge of Epstein's criminal activities and had acted in good faith. However, in early 2023, the USVI quietly began issuing subpoenas for J.P. Morgan's top executives and other powerful figures who were dragged into the case. Among them were Jamie Dimon, the CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, Larry Page, and Sergey Brin, the co-founders of Google. Jamie Dimon, a prominent figure in Wall Street and someone who has expressed interest in running for president, found himself under oath, facing tough questions from USVI attorneys. When asked about his knowledge of Epstein or his sexual misconduct, Dimon claimed that he did not recall ever hearing about Epstein until after his arrest in 2019. According to the transcript of the video deposition, Dimon was confronted with an email from Epstein's former assistant suggesting a scheduled meeting as far back as 2010. However, Dimon emphatically denied ever having an appointment, meeting, or even knowing Jeff Epstein. In court filings in May, J.P. Morgan Chase accused the islands and senior USVI officials of enabling Epstein to commit his crimes. The bank's lawyers claimed that high-ranking USVI officials had been bought off by Epstein and actively worked with him while benefiting from his wealth. They alleged that Epstein had given them money, advice, influence, and favors, and in exchange, they shielded and even rewarded him. As the legal battle intensified, J.P. Morgan Chase found itself facing mounting pressure. Then in September, just weeks before the case was due to go to trial, the bank made a surprising announcement. J.P. Morgan Chase settled the case for a staggering $75 million without admitting any fault. In a statement, the bank declared that it would pay $55 million to Virgin Island charities and anti-trafficking organizations, with an additional $20 million to cover the territory's legal expenses. The settlement brought an end to the legal battle, but it left many questions unanswered. The settlement raised eyebrows and sparked speculation about the extent of J.P. Morgan Chase's involvement in Epstein's criminal activities. While the bank maintained its innocence, the settlement left a lingering sense of unease and a feeling that justice had not been fully served. What happened to the island? After Epstein's death, the fate of his vast fortune and properties, including the two islands, became a subject of intense legal battles. The government of the U.S. Virgin Islands, seeking justice for the victims, made a bold move by requesting control of Epstein's assets. The government argued that the assets should be used to establish a relief fund for the victims of Epstein's heinous crimes. They believed that this would be a step towards healing and providing some form of restitution for the survivors. However, Epstein's executor and legal team vehemently opposed the government's request. They argued that the assets should be sold off instead, with the proceeds going towards compensating the victims. Their stance sparked a heated debate, with both sides fighting for what they believed was the right course of action. Victim advocates and legal experts weighed in on the matter, highlighting the importance of prioritizing the survivors' needs. They emphasized that the assets should be utilized to provide support and assistance to those who had suffered at the hands of Epstein. As the legal battle raged on, accusations of mismanagement were hurled from both sides. The government accused Epstein's executor of prioritizing expenses like lawyers, landscaping, and helicopter fees, overcompensating the brave women who had come forward. The tension between the two parties escalated, further complicating the resolution of the case. But in November 2022, a surprising turn of events occurred. The U.S. Virgin Islands reached a settlement with the Epstein estate, bringing an end to the prolonged legal dispute. The estate agreed to pay the government a staggering $105 million and half the proceeds from the eventual sale of the islands. An additional $450,000 was allocated to repair any environmental damage caused by Epstein's activities. With the path to a sale now clear, the islands were poised to enter a new chapter. Investors and entrepreneurs saw an opportunity in the midst of the controversy, hoping to transform the islands into something entirely different. Not long after, Stephen Dekoff made headlines with his audacious purchase of Epstein Island. Dekoff, known for his entrepreneurial prowess, has built an empire through his private equity firm, Black Diamond Capital Management. But this acquisition ambition has taken his ventures to a whole new level. According to a press release, Stephen Dekoff acquired Epstein Island for a jaw-dropping $60 million, which is half of the original price that was initially listed. The purchase price alone is enough to raise eyebrows. However, Stephen Dekoff's purchase of Epstein Island marks a turning point in its history. In the press release, it was revealed that Dekoff has ambitious plans for the islands. He intends to renovate the existing structures and transform the island into a luxury resort, complete with 25 opulent rooms. But this is not just about creating a lavish getaway. Dekoff's vision goes beyond mere indulgence. He aims to contribute to the development of the entire region while preserving the natural environment that exists on the islands. This commitment to sustainable growth is evident in the press release, which states that a significant portion of the sale proceeds will be paid to the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands as part of a previously announced settlement agreement. With this purchase, Stephen Dekoff not only takes ownership of Epstein Island, but also assumes the responsibility of transforming its tainted past into a brighter future. Stephen Dekoff has amassed a staggering net worth estimated to be around $3 billion. But how did he achieve such extraordinary wealth? Let's take a closer look at his background and career trajectory. Dekoff's journey began at Cornell University, where he pursued a degree in science. It was during his time at Cornell that his entrepreneurial spirit started to take shape. Armed with a thirst for knowledge and a drive to make a difference, Dekoff embarked on a path that would lead him to great heights. After graduating, Dekoff wasted no time in making his mark in the business world. He honed his skills by working for renowned companies such as Peabody & Company, Bear Stearns, and Kidder. These experiences provided him with invaluable insights into the intricacies of the financial industry. In 1995, Stephen Dekoff took a leap of faith and launched his own venture, Black Diamond Capital Management. This private equity firm would become the cornerstone of his success. With his visionary leadership and astute business acumen, Dekoff propelled Black Diamond to new heights, transforming it into a powerhouse within the industry. Today, Black Diamond Capital Management boasts a reported revenue of around $9 billion. The firm employs approximately 100 people, including 30 investment professionals who work tirelessly to ensure its continued success. Dekoff's strategic decisions and unwavering dedication have solidified Black Diamond's position as a leader in the private equity landscape, but Stephen Dekoff's accomplishments extend beyond the realm of business. He is a firm believer in giving back to the community and has made significant contributions to various philanthropic causes. One notable example is his support for nonprofits in the Virgin Islands, where he has donated over $1.2 million. His generosity has helped fund initiatives in areas such as education, healthcare, and environmental conservation. Through his philanthropy, Dekoff has shown that success is not solely measured by wealth, but by the positive impact one can have on society. In an interview with Forbes, Stephen Dekoff expressed his deep-rooted commitment to the Virgin Islands, where he has been a resident since 2011. He spoke of his desire to bring a world-class experience to the region and his excitement about working with the U.S. Virgin Islands government to turn his dream into reality. As we speak, Dekoff is assembling a team of top architects and engineers to construct the luxury resort on Epstein Island. Spread over 70 acres on Little St. James and 160 acres on Great St. James, this ambitious project is set to redefine luxury and hospitality in the Caribbean. The resort is expected to be launched by 2025, offering 25 opulent rooms and a world-class experience for its guests. Dekoff's vision goes beyond creating a lavish getaway. He aims to contribute to the development of the entire region while preserving the natural beauty that exists on the islands. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.